Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another interview here at ESC United. I am super excited. We just had an interview with Bjorn Olaf. Now I have another interview from Melodi Grand Prix with the one and only Elsie Bay. Elsie, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We just came off a 3-day weekend here in the United States, so I feel well rested and super excited. It also means that the Melodi Grand Prix semifinal is just one less day away.
True, that's very true.
Yes, yes. Well, and that also meant that the midnight release for the songs was very easy to cover because I was just sitting at home waiting for something to do.
Mm, Perfect.
Well, Elsie, I know that last time when we had an interview last year, I kind of asked you a lot of songwriting questions and songs about your songs. So now I want to ask you some like get to know you questions, help our readers
All
really
right.
understand who you are. So first and foremost, what is one thing that our listeners and our readers would be surprised to learn about you?
Well, I mean, I have revealed some things, but maybe how short I am in in real life. I get some reactions and then people meet me, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were so tiny." But I'm 156 centimeters. I guess that's like 5'1",
Hmm.
so quite short.
Okay. Well, yeah, and when you look at you, like especially last year on the Melody Grand Prix stage, I didn't get that impression at all. But I think that that might just be like really cool camera work. And you have a lot of those, I guess, back shots and crowd shots. You
Yeah.
you looked very tall.
Well, I don't know, maybe thank you, but I guess I guess it's also when you don't have anything to compare it with. You know, the violin guys, they came on very late and they were also very much in the background. So yeah,
Hmm.
but it is true. I am 5'1".
Okay. All right. Well, and what are some albums or songs that you currently are playing on repeat?
I don't play that much on repeat, to be honest. I'm more like one song there, one song there. But I do really like Emilie Nicolas stuff. She's Norwegian. You should check that out. And
Okay.
also, I tend to go through some Bon Iver records from time to time.
All right. And if you had the option, or I should say the ability, to do a one night only concert anywhere in the world of your choice, where would you be performing and why?
Well, right now, I miss Spain. I used to live in Spain when I was little, and so I really like going there. So maybe I'll pick somewhere in Spain. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Spain, of course, they have their national final, Benidorm, coming up. Are you following that pretty closely?
You know what? Actually, there's so many national finals coming up now and songs releasing, and I thought to myself that I just need to really focus on MGP right now and make sure that I do the best performance, and then I can listen to all of the other songs and really enjoy that when there's more time.
Fair enough. And I think also, if I remember the calendar, I think Benidorm's final is the same night as the Melody Grand Prix final. So, yeah, that
Yeah.
would be pretty busy.
Yeah, you know. So as much as I wish that I could just go through all of that right away, I think, yeah, just focus on what's most important now, especially coming the upcoming Saturday, and then after chill and listen to music.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of kind of the final and everything like that, I'm curious. So last year, our listeners will remember that you were an auto qualifier. You made your debut. I think it was semi or the first heat of
Yeah.
Melody Grand Prix and did your performance, and then you qualified. You were straight through. This year, they do not have the auto qualifier, so you'll go through the semifinal process.
Yes.
What would you say is more stressful, being an auto qualifier and kind of having those expectations, or just going through the semifinal qualification process?
It's definitely more stressful when you know that there's a chance that you might be going home tonight. Um, but at the same time, I think it's more fair. And the fact that they wanted to have a jury in the finals, just like in Eurovision, instead of having a jury that just picks a few qualifiers, I think that's a better way to do it overall. So even if it's a little bit more scary, I am happy with the new rules. And you know, if I can't go through with the semifinal, I probably can't win anyways. So I just have to cross my fingers and see and hope that it goes well.
Well, we'll be crossing our fingers over here. And I want to ask you as well. So, speaking similarly, You debuted last year. It wasn't your first time being around Melody Grand Prix, because I remember that you had written Witchwoods for Emmy, but this was the first time that you had debuted as a solo artist, the featured
Yeah.
artist at Melody Grand Prix. What made you decide that you wanted to return so quickly after your debut last year?
I think it was a combination of actually having the right song and having so much fun last year, and also the fact that I was asked to come back with this song. So three components.
Okay, all right. And was this song like written independently? Because I know that Melody Grand Prix does a lot of those songwriting camps. They invite artists to do those. Was that written at a songwriting camp, or was that done completely independently and then kind of, Melody Grand Prix came on the mind?
No, it was written on one of those camps. It was.
Okay. And what's that process like? Because I know it's you basically have a day. You work with a group of composers. You have a day. You write a song, and you move on to the next group. What is that process like?
But overall, it's kind of the same as a normal session that you would do outside of a songwriting camp. But there's often a little more pressure. And maybe the main difference is that these camps are hosted by somebody. So you end up in sessions with people that you don't necessarily know from before. So it's a very good way to broaden your network. And the way that it goes is basically you get a group in the morning and you go into the studio and you make something. And most of the time there's a listening session at the end of the day. So everyone has to play what they've written. And so game is really on in a way. You really want to have the best song, and you don't want to be the group that only plays half a song when you know that everybody else is going to perform really, really well and play bangers.
Sure. And I also remember, I remember when they did NRK to kind of like that feature of like, oh, look at who all is, been here. I remember that you popped up in a photo, and you are also a songwriter for Ellie Thorpe's song for Melody Grand Prix. So what was it like going through a songwriting camp and writing your song, whilst also being over here on the other side and helping someone else write their song to compete?
Well, what you don't know is that I also wrote for somebody else and for somebody else and but they didn't get picked. So I get around. Yeah, no, I really enjoy writing for this concept. I definitely do write for other things than MGP as well, but there's something about this whole journey that I really enjoy, and the people and the concept. So every year since I wrote Witchwoods, I've been trying to write more songs for the concept, basically.
Okay. And
And,
what's it like competing alongside a song that you've written? Because I remember last year we had this experience because Hammer of Thor was also written by you.
yeah.
So what is it like competing alongside an artist that you're also trying to support as their songwriter?
But I think we don't see it as like competing because you're not head to head. It's like a lot of artists. So it feels more like you have a greater shot at winning. Of course, I would prefer to win with my artist project, but at the same time, if I can win as a songwriter, I'll take it. So it feels just really good. I'm very grateful to have been given the opportunity to have two songs in this year.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Alrighty. So the one thing I also want to ask you, we've been talking and dancing around kind of songwriting. Um, for you specifically as a songwriter, what would you say kind of comes first? Do you kind of settle in on a message and lyrics? Do you create the melody and the instrumental structure? How do you songwrite?
Well, what I do mostly is write songs for other people when they are in, like the artist is in the room with me. So usually we start off by the artist saying what kind of style they like. Maybe they play some other demos that they have, maybe they play some other artists that they like. And the producers might start working on the track. And then I start talking with the artist because I think it is a good starting point of knowing what we're going to write about, especially since we are two, three people trying to write this song that we're on the same page of what is it? Is it a breakup song? Are we feeling happy dance party? Are we feeling joke song, because knowing a lot of stuff helps me come up with ideas that are accurate. And most artists, they do like to write about things that are personal to them. So So yeah, that's usually what we start out with, just having a conversation about what this song should be.
Okay.
And then we move on to melodies and specific lyrics further down the line.
All right. Well, of course, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. If you are to win Melodi Grand Prix, you would go on to Eurovision. So, what is your first memory of the Eurovision Song Contest?
I think it's probably Lordi when Finland won. Was that
Mm,
was that 2005 or six or something?
2006, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was 10 then. I think that's I probably watched it before that, but that's the one that I remember. I bought a CD after some like Absolute Music and they had that song on there and I was like, yeah.
I mean, in fairness, the Lordi performance, I think, is very impressionable since it was so I mean, it was wacky. It was, demons on stage playing rock music, and everyone was eating it up. So I can understand how that could leave a bit of an impression.
Yeah.
It's very fun here in the States. Not a lot of people know about Eurovision, and so it's my favorite one to be like, oh yeah, and this was a song, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that was a song.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Alrighty, so my final question for you. So, what projects, music, what things are coming down the pipeline that you think our listeners should be aware
MGP. I need you. I need you to vote for
of?
me. I need help. Um, no, we have plans of releasing more music, but we kind of have to see how it goes with MGP in terms of timing. Does it make sense to release in March? Does it make sense to release in August, February, April? I don't think we know that until we know the result of the
Mhm.
Saturday, potentially next Saturday, potentially Eurovision.
Okay.
Very exciting, but more music is coming for sure.
All righty. Well, so for all of you who are watching, make sure that you are following Elsie Bay on YouTube, on Spotify, on social media, so that you can make sure that you catch whenever those projects make their way onto streaming platforms. Again, Elsie, I would like to thank you so much for spending some time with us ahead of your semifinal on Saturday. And as you said, make sure that you tune into NRK and that you make that account so that you can vote for Elsie Bay if you so choose to do so. That semifinal is going to be at 12:50 Central European time, so make sure that you're tuning in. And as well, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, the like button down below. That's going to help us so much. And of course, also you'll get notified whenever we have an additional Eurovision related interview that's coming down the pipeline. So, with that, I will leave you all with a great old goodbye.
Bye.